like when you're hungry, sound off with a thunderous roar, or you are only to travel in um, uh,
an approved baby carrier.
right,
The uniform of the day is prescribed by your mother.
right,
Things like that.
yeah, and my rank was bundle of joy,
Yep.
and
Your MOS was NWB, November Whiskey Bravo, which was newborn.
right, and then there was something else I can't remember, and the thing for that was by the grace of God.
Yeah, the authority, the
Oh, yeah.
approving authority for your orders was the grace of God.
Right.
I was deployed to Iraq when Travis was born, and so he came into this world, without my consent. And,
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, no problem. And so I was actually out on mission that day, and when I came back from mission, my lieutenant came up to me and told me that I needed to call home. And so he had procured a satellite phone for me to call home. And so I went up on top of this concrete bunker so I could get hopefully the best service on the satellite phone. And I called my father-in-law, who gave me the number to the hospital that Mom was in while she was giving birth to you and everything like that. And they transferred me to her room, and I was, even through the satellite phone with helicopters flying overhead, I could hear this baby crying in the background. And I'd asked her, I said, is that our baby? Is that, because he didn't have a name yet, because we'll skip that story right now.
Yeah, we won't go there.
But we didn't have a name yet for him. And so I said, is that our baby? And she said, yeah. I said, he's got a pretty good set of lungs. I can hear him all the way through the satellite phone over top of the helicopters.
Well, it wasn't a he yet, it was an it.
Yeah. And that's when she informed me that not only was it my baby I was hearing, but that my baby was 2 doors away, or 2 rooms away, through closed doors.
Right.
And I could still hear him squalling. So I realized then that we were in a world of trouble.
Hence the name Travis, short for travesty.
Yes. That Travis has entered this world kicking and screaming and was going to let the entire world know that he was here.
That's right.
And it was that night, actually, that the brigade commander came by and gave me those orders for you.
Yeah.
I think you were, God, I think you were almost 6 months old before I ever even held you or anything. Mm-hmm. Mom sent me pictures of you and stuff, but
right.
That was,
once you picked me up, you never put me down.
That was back in 2003 when. What's that?
I said, once you picked me up, you never put me back down till it was time to leave again.
Yeah. That was back in 2003 before we had all the Skypes and Facebook Lives and stuff like that. And so I had to wait patiently for pictures to show up through the mail and hope that they made it. And yeah.
I have 2 things real quick. For one, it's a hard pill to swallow to know that I'm older than YouTube and Facebook. And for 2, is it okay if I ask you a question about when I was born?
Sure.
Okay. So when you got off the phone with Mom about, the phone call that I was born, how did that make you feel for the rest of the day, even though you were on a mission and?
Well, I was back.
Like that?
I was back from mission.
Oh, okay.
So our daily routine was to, we'd usually have a mission or two, and then once we got back from mission, there'd be some people up on guard duty, and other people would have just regular. We'd have one person who was posted up over at the fuel point, and then everybody else would either be doing base fortifications or just getting some downtime. This particular day was a down day after the missions were done, and so I came up off the top of that bunker and I ran and gave the satellite phone back to LT, and he asked me if everything was okay, and I said, yeah. I said, my son was born, and he's good and healthy, and so's my wife. And LT gave me a high five, and I ran to the tent, and I told my platoon sergeant that you were born, and we sat there and drank a non-alcoholic beer and smoked a cigar. So, in celebration of you being born. So
that's the way I want to come into this world, right?
So, and
that better be the way I go out.
I'll be the first to tell you, non-alcoholic beer is not worth it. I don't drink anymore, but I don't know what I was thinking that a non-alcoholic beer was a good idea, but in the moment it was the best we had to celebrate you coming into this world, and we did it.
Surprised you didn't throw hard objects at you as a celebration instead.
So, yeah, and then, there's this sense of relief because, whenever a loved one is pregnant or have any medical issues going on, and you have to go across the world with limited communication and stuff like that, there's plenty of time to sit there and worry about what if. So there's a huge sense of relief knowing that your mom was okay and that you were okay and that you had all 10 fingers and toes. But it made me want to, knowing that I had 2 children at home now, made me want to come home that much more.
Right.
I didn't want to miss those moments with you. Obviously I didn't want to miss your birth. So I think that in terms of combat and stuff like that, I think it definitely made me, not just you, but being a father in general and being a husband, made me more aggressive of an individual and a little less tolerant, because it wasn't just me and my buddies I was fighting for now. I was fighting so that my children could have a father and my wife could have a husband.
Right. You might be a broken one, but I'm grateful for him.
I ain't that broken.
I know.
So let's find us another piece of news to discuss here. I had another one pulled up, and so speaking of Fort Bragg, let's talk about Fort Bragg, shall we?
I don't know anything about Fort Bragg.
I do. I know something about Fort Bragg.
That's scary.
Fort Bragg has made an oopsie.
Oh.
Fort Bragg has decided that they are going to relieve their garrison commander because, well, it doesn't say why. So the article only states that the garrison commander at Fort Bragg, I'm not even going to attempt to butcher his last name, is being relieved due to trust issues. And that's about all it says with relation to that. It says that there will be more information coming forth as the investigation moves on, moves forward. The investigation into this colonel's conduct, I guess. So they are going to be the deputy garrison commander is going to be taking charge of the garrison until they appoint someone new, I guess. So if you're at Fort Bragg, or if you have Fort Bragg ties at all, then you have a new garrison commander. I hope it works out for you. They're not really saying anything about it. It's kind of
just have fun with that adventure.
Right. It's kind of disheartening, actually, that they don't want to let us know exactly what he's being investigated for or anything like that. So I guess we'll find out in due time. But yeah, Fort Bragg's got a new garrison commander.
Go Fort Bragg.
Go Fort Bragg.
You started talking about how you knew something about Fort Bragg, like it was something really bad. It might be good. Who knows?
It might be. I don't know.
I'm not as intimidated anymore.
So, also as of today, our F-22s have intercepted Russian military aircraft off of the Alaskan coast for the 5th time this month. So today is June 25th, the 5th time this month. That means an average of it once every 5 days. The Russian military planes are flying within our coastlines. The F-22s intercepted 2 Russian Il-38 Dolphin maritime patrol aircrafts, which flew within about 50 miles of Unimak, I hope I'm saying that correct, Island. Said that they're turboprop planes used for surveillance and anti-submarine warfare. They never entered the U.S. airspace, which only extends 12 nautical miles from our shoreline. So they were 38 miles outside of our airspace. But, yeah.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But I thought America and Russia were like allies.
Well, we aren't allies per se. We kind of like to poke at each other once in a while just to remind the other that we're still here, and then we'll do a couple of things together, and then we'll poke at each other again. And
so it's like a
sibling rivalry,
high school neutral friendship type deal. Like you don't like each other, but you do at the same time.
I think it's more of like a well, I don't know what analogy to use, but it's more out of necessity rather than like that.
Okay.
That they have their moments where we get along.
Okay.
We have another new sponsor for tonight's show. That sponsor is called M&M Organics. So it's the letter M as in Mike, and M as in Mike.
Wow.
Organics. And they set up at the farmers market every Saturday morning from 9 until 12. The farmers market is located at 2600 Boulevard down in Colonial Heights. They have squashes, zucchinis, various types of pickles and relishes.
Various types of cucumbers.
Various types of cucumbers, some
turnip greens,
and tomatoes.
Sometime soon they might be getting potatoes.
Yeah, they've got potatoes growing, but they aren't ready yet. And then they've also got various peppers that they're going to have there.
And maybe some fruit.
Right. So, if you have any vegetable needs, go talk to M&M Organics down at 2600 Boulevard in Colonial Heights.